everybody. My name's Brianna. So my piece is an essay about living in Laois. Sorry for your troubles. Have you ever had anyone say that to you and follow it up with a sort of light laugh? If you're from Laois, chances are you probably have. It's what other people who are not from here, say when you tell them where you're from. And it's meant to be funny. But like a knock-knock joke, it loses its appeal after about the 100th time. When I was a teenager, and my county would come up in conversation, I didn't know what to say. I just wanted to get out of here. My mum is from Donegal and my dad is from Kerry, arguably two of the most impressive counties in Ireland. So what kind of comparison could I make there? Before I went off to college, my mum corrected my accent. Do you want everyone making fun of you for not pronouncing the ends of your words? That. No one ever did make fun of my accent, but college was the first time I ever heard that phrase, sorry for your troubles. Why were they sorry? No one ever said. Was it the fact that we're the only landlocked county in Ireland? Or the fact that there are no cities here? Who knew? When I used to live in Dublin, I took the train down to Cork once, and we made the usual stop in my hometown of Portlaoise. And I started thinking about Portlaoise and Portarlington as stops on people's journey from one end of the country to the other. Dublin down to Cork and Limerick, or Galway to Dublin, to name a few. And because of these stops, I'd say more people have been to County Laois than maybe any other county in Ireland. Or maybe they've just been to our train stations. And I remember thinking that day and looking out the window, and all I could see was grey walls. Not a coffee cart or a gift shop to be seen from the window. And I remember thinking, fair enough, maybe all of the sorries the rest of the country bestows on us come from just 30 seconds or 40 seconds of sitting on a train looking out the window. That was a fleeting thought that day on the way down to Cork, and I wasn't really inclined to believe it until I moved back. I met my fiancé in the Sally Gardens. There he is there. That wasn't clear. I met him on St. Stephen's night, and we met in a way that I'd always hoped to meet someone. Pint of Guinness in my hand, glitter on my cheeks, DJ playing Christmas songs and lights spinning on the wooden floor. I never expected to end up with someone from Laois. I thought I knew everyone here. I discovered in the first 2 months of knowing him that this was a man who really loved his county. On our first date, he took me to the Rock of Maze, and we went to the top and we looked down at the 5 counties that you can see from there. And 5 counties from one spot is surely something you can only see in the Flatland Midlands. Whenever I would copy the people that I met in college, he would correct me. And he said to me one day, "You should be proud of your county." And I said, "Why?" And he replied, "Because it's ours." And that was it. He's a man more of action than of words, something that I got used to as the years went on. We both lived in Dublin at the time, but we often came back to Laois and spent our time here. He took me hiking in the Sleep Bloom Mountains, and we did all of the beautiful nature trails around the countryside, underneath all of the trees sheltering us from the constant rain. We ate flaky pastries in Abbeleaks and did the bog walk. And on some of these walks, he would walk ahead of me sometimes and stop just to look at the beauty of the county around us. And he would take out his camera, take a photo, and turn to me and say in his very Laois way, "Isn't this class?" In the evenings, we texted our friends who were from Laois, but like us had left and lived elsewhere, but also like us were usually around at the weekends. On one of these evenings, I was chatting to 2 of my friends who live down in Cork, and the conversation turned to the future. And they said, "We're moving back. Laois isn't as bad as we used to think it was when we were kids." And I didn't ask any questions for the simple reason that I also was planning to move back. And I remember we stood there just looking sheepishly into our pints, thinking about all the times that we had dogged the place that we were now looking to make a home in. I used to think that I fell back in love with Laois because of my boyfriend's influence, but it's not just me. The truth is, Laois is a great county. Its towns are full of laughter coming from shops and cafes, people shouting hello at you from their car, friends in school meeting up in the pubs, workers willing to forgive you for forgetting your purse, sure we'll get you again. The train up to Dublin on match day, blue and white face paint on the children, arguing over where the best place to get a cup of coffee is, long walks in the evening, saying hello to your neighbour, Christmas lights going up earlier and earlier every year. There's loveliness all around us here. And some might argue that it's like that no matter where you go in Ireland. And sure, maybe that's true. But whenever I take the train up from Cork or down from Dublin, I'm very proud to get off at my stop. Because we're not just anywhere, we're home. Thank you very much.